They are 2 spots out of the playoffs right now.
Oh, God.
Mathematically speaking, by the numbers, 2 spots out of the playoffs right now. They have a
playoffs.
Dare I say favorable matchup against the Chicago Bears? Or is that like? By the way, I peeped their like last couple games, 30 points. I think the last 4 games out of them, outside of
Just Fields been turning up.
Cowboys game where they scored 29,
Just
and obviously
Fields
our
been turning
defense,
up.
not the greatest. But I have a question for you guys. That being the case, and yes, we're Detroit Lions supporters. Flynn Sam, how much of a Detroit Lions fan are you? You more so just like because I know you're not from Michigan originally.
I mean, if you hear me on the show, it's very obvious I am a Detroit Lions fan.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, as fans, and I'm talking to you guys too out there in the Woodward Sports chat, would you rather see them, because again, Josh Allen may be out for a couple games too, making that game more winnable on Thanksgiving. They're going on a 2-game win streak. Would you rather see this team creep into the playoffs, or do you want to go hit top 5 and get your new quarterback or Will Anderson?
It's hard for me because obviously as a supporter, I'd love to see the Detroit Lions be successful. The Detroit Lions win games, make playoff appearances, do what they need to do. But I'm going to go with top 5 pick because I know that's not sustainable with Jared Goff. I know with how that offense is built, Jared Goff is not the future of anything. The only thing he is the future of is a backup somewhere. So I would rather them have a top 5 pick than make a Fugazi playoff run. I would rather them be able to go get their guy and have him be set up for the future than make a playoff run, even though because I know it's not going to happen. They're not going to make a playoff run. Their defense is not going to do what it did against Green Bay to other teams. But I would rather have us, because we're still rebuilding. The Detroit Lions are still rebuilding. They're still trying to get pieces. They need a lot. We've both said they need at least 4 starters on defense. They need a quarterback, and they probably need one more offensive weapon, whether that be another top-flight wide receiver or a running back. They need a couple pieces. So I'd rather them get as high in the draft as possible.
Flannel Sam?
God, this is such a tough one because for me, the Bears game next week, that's sort of the bridge game. I believe if the Lions go into Chicago and beat the Bears, that this is a 6 or 7 win football team, and that the tank is officially over because they're not going to be able to be one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. But if they lose this game, the chances at getting a Will Anderson or a quarterback, that's still alive and well. So I'm going to have to, I don't want to make a cop-out kind of answer, but we'll see after this week. If they win this game, if Lions win this game, it's also Dan Campbell's first road victory. That is something that you can build on. I believe that if the Lions win this game, it's one of those games that I wouldn't say it's one that they're not supposed to win, but I do think the Bears are better. I do think Justin Fields is going to give them problems. Yes. And if the Lions can go in and win, and especially if some of the rookies and second-year players show out like they did against the Packers, at that point, I will root for them to make a bit of a run and maybe sneak into the playoffs and see if some of those first or second-year players, if you got something in them. But if they lose to the Bears, tank on. It's Tank City.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple ways like looking at this too. As a fan of the Detroit Lions, as crazy as it sounds, I almost feel like I do lean towards the playoffs. One, we haven't seen winning football in forever, ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even remember. When was our last winning was with Caldwell?
Yes.
Was our last winning season. Outside of that, like, just the faith in the future of this franchise. Because if it's looking like, obviously, top 5 pick, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are keeping their job. We heard the owner come out. She already said that, that's going to be the case or whatever. But, like, for me as a fan, I do, like, lose, like, faith in them a little bit, that being in the scenario. Although I accept it and I see that being the scenario, it still hurts and makes me question, like, just their legitimacy and, like, if they could truly, like, turn things around for the franchise itself.